Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the notes on circles on the coordinate plane. At the end of this, you should be able to say, I can write the equation of a circle given 3 points on the circle. Okay, so first thing, the equation for a circle is this here, and it looks really confusing, but we will walk you through it and you're going to be okay. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So basically this is a squared plus b squared equals the c squared. Okay, so h and k here are the center of the circle, and r is the radius. Okay, so that's all we're going to need to know to figure out the equation of our circle. So let's show a little bit more on that as to why this works. So what this really is coming from is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then the radius on this circle here, this is the radius, that's going to be our hypotenuse. That's why it's the r squared. And really it's this triangle here means the change in, it's delta. So the change in x squared plus the change in y squared is going to equal the r squared. So the change in would basically means the length here, and then the length here, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? Let's put that into a little bit of practice here. Okay? So the center is negative 114, and then the radius is 4. We're going to write the equation of the circle looking like this. Okay? So let's do this. We got a squared plus b squared equals the radius squared, right? So the radius right here is 4, so we'll just write that as 4 squared here. Okay, and then this is always going to be x minus, and this is going to be y minus, and it's going to be x minus the x coordinate, which in this case, the center of the circle, which in this case, x, y is negative 1, so it's x minus negative 1, and then y minus 14. Okay, so basically the equation of our circle is going to be x plus 1 squared plus y minus 14 squared equals, and 4 squared is 16, so we would just do it like that. That is the equation of our circle. Okay, I just rewrote this up here. Same exact stuff. I just squeezed it up here because I forgot I had some more stuff I'm putting underneath here. All right, number 2, center is 212, radius is root 26, so it's going to be x minus 2 squared plus y minus 12 squared equals the square root of 26 squared, right? So none of these are going to change. X minus 2 squared, y minus 12 squared, and then square root of 26, the square root of 26 squared is simply going to give us 26, because this square and this root are going to cancel each other out. And so then there's the equation of this circle. Okay? All right, here's the other stuff that I had to squeeze in here. Identify the center and radius of each. Okay, so the center here is going to be, it's always going to be the opposite of whatever this is here, right? Because this center was negative 114, and it was x plus 1 and y minus 14. So it's going to be the opposite of these numbers here. So it's going to be, that's negative 1. Opposite of 1 is negative 1. Opposite of 14 is negative 14 is positive 14. So this one's going to be opposite of negative 2 is 2. Opposite of positive 12 is negative 12. And then the radius is going to equal, so it's this number here. If you'll remember, we squared our radius to get to this number here. So then what we'll have to do is take the square root of that. So it's going to be the square root of 25, which is 5. So the radius is 5, and the center is at 2, negative 12. Okay? Same idea over here. The center is going to be opposite of positive 15 is negative 15. Opposite of negative 11 is positive 11. And then the radius is going to equal 14, but we got a square root 14, right? And since square root of 14 doesn't work out to be a nice number, we're just going to leave it as a square root of 14. And then there's our center as well. All right, got one last thing to do, but before we do that, let's take a little comedy break.
I read all these kids' books, you know. Let me ask you something. Does the owl go who, or does it go hoot? Half the books say one, half the books say the other. Let me tell you something. Owls don't go hoot, okay? Has anyone ever heard an owl go hoot? Hoot! Never in the history of the animal kingdom has an owl enunciated like that, ever. Toss those books in the trash can. They didn't do their research. Who's deciding how they go, you know? The horse goes neigh. When does a horse do that? You want to give me a ride? Neigh. Everybody knows horses don't go neigh. They go Wilbur.
All right. Last one here. Let's see. Oh, no. Hold on a second. Okay, that's a little better. So, oops. And then I move it, of course. Identify the center and radius of each, then sketch the graph. So, center of this thing, let's do these down here. Center is going to be -2 and +1. And then the radius is going to equal square root of 9. So the radius equals 3. So radius is 3. Center is at -2, 1. So it says identify the center and radius and then sketch the graph. So center is at -2, +1. And then the radius is 3. Okay. Now, probably the easiest way to make a sketch of this, radius is 3, is just go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Down 3. To the right 3. And then to the left 3, because those are all nice, easy ones to find. And then just kind of round those off to roughly make a circle. That's not perfect, but it's going to be close enough for what we need. Okay, so that's what this equation here will give you. Okay, let's move on to this next one over here. The center on this one is going to be x, so the opposite of -4 is +4. And then if you'll notice here we have y squared, so really y squared is the same thing as y plus what? Equals y squared, and that would be y plus 0. So the opposite of +0 is -0. There's no such thing as -0, so it's just 4 and 0 will be the center. Okay, and then the radius in this case, square root of 4 gives us 2. So the radius is 2 and the center is at 4, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. There's our center. And then we'll go up 2, down 2, that's 3, 2, to the right 2, and to the left 2. And then try to somewhat make that into a circle. Let's see if I can do a little bit better job than the last one. That's a little better. Okay. And then that's that. That's how we draw circles and use the equation for circles on the coordinate plane. Okay. If you have any further questions at all, please feel free to ask. Thanks.